The giant meeting room floated in space. Inside, hundreds of different alien species sat in special chairs made just for their bodies. Some aliens looked like giant bugs. Others were made of liquid or crystal. They all came to this place to make important decisions about the galaxy. Today, a human stood at the center of the room. His name was Do-hyun. He wore a simple black suit from Earth. Next to him sat a golden dog on a soft cushion. The dog's name was Max. Max looked around the room with curious brown eyes. Do-hyun cleared his throat. He was nervous but tried not to show it. Humans had only joined this galactic group 3 years ago. Most aliens still did not understand them very well. "Thank you for giving me time to speak," Do-hyun said. His voice echoed in the huge room. "I want to talk about our animals. We call them pets. We want to bring them to all our space stations and ships." A strange clicking sound filled the room. It was alien laughter. A tall creature that looked like a giant praying mantis stood up. His name was Thexvor. He came from a warrior race called the Krelians. "Let me understand this correctly," Thexvor said. His voice sounded like scissors cutting paper. "You want to bring prey animals into space? Animals that cannot think? Animals that cannot help with any work?" "They are not prey," Do-hyun said firmly. "They are our companions. They are part of our families." More laughter echoed around the room. A slug-like alien named Cormith slithered forward in his glass tank filled with green liquid. "Family? But Ambassador, these creatures cannot even speak. They have tiny brains. They need you to feed them and clean up after them. How can you call them family?" Do-hyun looked down at Max. The dog wagged his tail and looked up at his human with love in his eyes. Max did not understand the words, but he could feel that Do-hyun was upset. "We call them pets," Do-hyun explained. "Yes, they need our help to survive. But they give us something important back. They give us friendship. They give us loyalty. They love us no matter what happens." A crystal alien named Velthar made a ringing sound. She was in charge of keeping order in the meeting. "Ambassador Do-hyun, we have read your request. You want us to change our rules for these animals, but they use up food and water. They need space on ships. They make messes. What is the benefit?" "The benefit is happiness," Do-hyun said. "The benefit is mental health. The benefit is having someone who is always happy to see you, who never judges you, who stays by your side no matter what." Thexvor made a harsh clicking sound. "This is emotion talking, not logic. Your species thinks with your hearts instead of your brains. These animals are parasites. You feed them, house them, care for them, and they do nothing useful in return." "That is where you are wrong," Do-hyun said, his voice getting stronger. "Dogs can smell diseases in humans before our machines can detect them. They can sense earthquakes before they happen. They help blind people see and deaf people hear. They comfort children who are scared. They guard our homes. They find people lost in disasters. They have been our partners for 30,000 years. Partners? Cormeth burbled. Or slaves? Did you genetically change them to depend on you? To obey you? Behind Do-hyun, Max suddenly stood up. The dog sensed the tension in the room. He moved closer to his human and sat down, leaning against Do-hyun's leg. It was a simple gesture of support, see that? Do-hyun pointed at Max. I did not tell him to do that. He chose to do that. Because he knows I am upset and he wants to help. That is not slavery. That is love. The room fell silent for a moment. Then Thexvor spoke again. Your request is denied, Ambassador. This council cannot approve the waste of resources on emotional pets. We deal with logic and efficiency here. Do-hyun gathered his papers slowly. He looked around the room at all the alien faces. Some looked amused. Others looked confused. None of them understood. I want to make something very clear, Do-hyun said quietly. I came here as a courtesy. To inform you, not to ask permission. Every human ship will have these animals. Every human station will have these companions. Every human colony will include our pets. This is not negotiable. We are not asking you to approve. We are telling you this is how it will be. Thexvor's large eyes narrowed. You cannot simply ignore council regulations. Watch us, Do-hyun said simply. You can mock us. You can laugh at us. You can call us weak and emotional. But you will not separate us from our companions ever. He turned and walked toward the exit. Max jumped down from the cushion and trotted beside him, his tail wagging. As they left, the laughter started again behind them. The aliens thought humans were foolish. They thought love for animals was a weakness. In his quarters later that night, Do-hyun sat on his bed. Max lay beside him, his head resting on Do-hyun's lap. The human stroked the soft golden fur and thought about the meeting. "They do not understand, Max," he said softly. "They think you are just an animal. They do not see what I see. They do not know that you would die for me, that you wait by the door every day until I come home, that you know when I am sad and try to make me feel better." Max looked up at him with those trusting brown eyes and licked his hand. "They will learn," Do-hyun continued. "One day they will understand that humans do not love weakly. We love fiercely. And when someone threatens what we love, they will discover that we are not as soft as they think." Outside the window, stars stretched across the darkness of space. Humanity was still new to this galactic community. They were small and weak compared to these ancient alien races, but they had something these aliens had forgotten or never known. They had learned to love across species. They had learned to protect the vulnerable. They had learned that true strength comes not from standing alone, but from standing together with those who depend on you. The galaxy thought humans were sentimental fools. They had no idea what was coming. The planet Arcturus IV spun slowly in space. It was humanity's first big colony outside of Earth's solar system. 3 million humans now lived on this world. They had brought their technology, their culture, and their animals. The aliens found this last part very strange. Human ships did not just carry people and equipment. They also carried dogs, cats, horses, and small creatures like rabbits and hamsters. Other species shook their heads at this waste of space and resources. Lieutenant Minho walked around the edge of Research Station 7. Beside him walked Luna, his German shepherd. She was a big dog with black and brown fur. Her ears stood up straight, always listening for danger. Luna took her job seriously, even though most humans thought she was just a pet. The station sat on a hill overlooking a green valley. Humans had worked hard to make this planet feel like Earth. They had planted grass and trees. They had built parks where children could play and dogs could run. There was even a veterinary clinic that treated sick and injured animals. Minho's radio buzzed. "Lieutenant, we have visitors coming. A Galactic Council inspection team just landed at the main port." Minho sighed. He scratched Luna behind her ears. "Here we go again, girl. Time to explain ourselves to more aliens who do not understand." The inspection team arrived an hour later. There were 3 aliens. The first was a Krillian named Vexthor. He looked like a giant mantis with armor plating. The second was a Vryn named Melvas. He was a slug-like creature who lived inside a glass tank filled with liquid. The third was a Torquin named Zexrim. This alien looked like a floating ball of tentacles with glowing sensors. They walked through the station with scanning devices. They measured everything. They took notes about everything. They seemed especially interested in the humans' habits. In the recreation area, several off-duty soldiers were playing with their dogs. A young woman named Jisoo threw a frisbee across the grass. Her border collie, a black and white dog, ran after it with incredible speed. The dog caught the frisbee in midair and brought it back. Jisoo laughed and threw it again. Vexthor clicked his mandibles. "Interesting. You waste 17% of your free time throwing objects for these animals to retrieve. What is the purpose?" Jisoo smiled as her dog dropped the frisbee at her feet. "It is not wasted time. We call it quality time. It makes us happy. It makes them happy." Melvas bubbled in his tank. "Quality. This word appears often in your reports. Quality time. Quality of life. But these things cannot be measured." "How do you know they are real?" "Not everything important can be measured," Minho said. He had joined the group with Luna at his side. "Some things you just feel." Zexrim floated closer to Luna. His tentacles reached out toward the dog. Luna's ears went flat against her head. A low growling sound came from her throat. She moved between Minho and the alien. "Fascinating," Zexrim said. His voice sounded like a computer. "This creature perceives threat even though I have shown no aggressive behavior." "She is protecting me," Minho explained. "Dogs are very good at reading body language and emotions, sometimes better than most intelligent species. They have evolved with us for over 30,000 years. They know us very well. Evolution requires mutual benefit," Zexrim stated. "What benefit does your species receive from these animals?" Minho looked down at Luna. She looked back up at him with complete trust. Her tail wagged slightly now that the alien had backed away. "Where do I start?" Minho said. "They comfort us when we are sad. They warn us about danger. They help our disabled people. They reduce our stress. Some can smell cancer in humans before our medical machines detect it. They can sense when someone is about to have a seizure. They can find explosives in drugs. They can rescue people from collapsed buildings. He paused, then continued. But mostly they love us. Completely and simply. They do not care if we are rich or poor, young or old, beautiful or ugly. They just love us for being us. The three aliens looked at each other. Vexthor spoke carefully. Your species has bred loyalty into a predator species. Do you not see how this looks? It appears you have enslaved them. Watch this, Minho said. He unclipped the leash from Luna's collar. Luna, you are free. The dog looked at him. Then she looked at the open gate leading to the fields beyond. Tall grass swayed in the wind. Forest stood in the distance. She could run away if she wanted. No one would stop her. Luna turned around. She walked back to Minho and sat down at his feet. She looked up at him as if to say, why would I leave? That is not programming, Minho said quietly. That is choice. Every single day they choose to stay with us. Every single day they choose to love us. The inspection team was silent for a moment. Then Melvas spoke. But they depend on you for food, for water, for shelter. Of course they stay. There are dogs who have gotten lost, Minho said. Dogs who have been separated from their humans. Some of them travel hundreds of miles to find their way home. They cross rivers and mountains. They go without food for days, all to get back to their humans. That is not dependency. That is love. Vexthor made a thoughtful clicking sound. You have given me much to consider, Lieutenant. The inspection team continued their tour. They saw the veterinary clinic where sick animals received medical care. They saw the training facility where dogs learned to help disabled humans. They saw the kennels where puppies were born and raised. They saw humans spending time and resources on creatures that could not speak or reason. Before they left, Zexrim approached Minho one more time. Luna watched the alien carefully but did not growl. I have processed all the data, Zexrim said. The numbers do not support the resources you spend on these animals. Yet your species thrives here. Your mental health statistics are better than any other species. Your crime rates are lower. Your productivity is higher. Logic suggests the animals contribute to this, though I cannot explain how. Some things cannot be explained, Minho said. Only experienced. The inspection team left that afternoon. Their ship rose into the sky and disappeared among the stars. Minho knew they would write reports about human inefficiency and illogical behavior, but he had seen something in Zexrim's sensors. A flicker of curiosity. A moment of uncertainty. The alien's pure logic could not explain the bond between Minho and Luna. And things that cannot be explained have a way of staying in the mind. That night, Minho sat on his porch with Luna beside him. The sun set over the valley, painting the sky orange and red. His dog rested her head on his knee. They do not understand us yet, he told her. But maybe someday they will. Maybe someday they will learn that love is not a weakness. It is the strongest thing in the universe. Luna's tail thumped against the floor. She did not understand his words, but she understood his tone. Her human was content. That made her content too. Across the colony, thousands of other humans sat with their pets. Dogs and cats, rabbits and birds. Each one loved. Each one protected. Each one part of the family. The galaxy thought humans were foolish, but humans knew the truth. In a cold, dark universe, they had learned to create warmth. And they had learned this from the creatures who walked beside them. Kepler Station hung in the darkness between star systems. It was a massive structure made of metal and glass, spinning slowly to create artificial gravity. This was neutral ground where all species could meet, trade, and talk. No one owned Kepler Station. Everyone was welcome here. The human section of the station was easy to find. It was the only area with plants in the corridors and the sound of animals. A man named Hajin ran a supply shop there with his wife Bora and their 2 children. Their shop sold tools, food, medical supplies, and various items that travelers needed. The shop also had a permanent resident, an orange cat named Simba. The cat was lazy and friendly. He spent most of his time sleeping in warm spots or investigating boxes that customers brought in. The children loved him. Customers often stopped to pet him. On a normal Tuesday morning, everything changed. A group of Vryn traders entered the shop. They were slug-like creatures that lived in special suits filled with liquid. Their leader was named Palvex. He oozed through the aisles, his eye stalks looking at everything with obvious disgust. Humans, Palvex said through his translator. Your contamination protocols are terrible. I detect non-intelligent biological matter throughout this establishment. Hajin's daughter Yuna was sitting at the counter doing homework. She was 9 years old. Simba was curled up next to her, purring softly. Yuna looked up at the alien. "That is Simba," she said proudly. "He is our cat. He keeps the mice and rats away." "It is a pest itself," Polvex responded. "A parasite you waste resources on. Very illogical." The Vryn extended a pseudopod toward Simba. The cat's ears flattened against his head. His green eyes went wide. "Sir, please do not touch him," Hajin said, moving forward from the back of the shop. But Polvex ignored the warning. His pseudopod grabbed Simba roughly around the middle. The cat yowled in pain and fear. His claws came out. He struggled to get free. "Perhaps I should dispose of this vermin for you," Polvex said. "Consider it a favor to help your species think more clearly." Yuna screamed. "No, put him down." "You're hurting him." Hajin moved fast. People forgot that he had been a Marine before becoming a merchant. He crossed the shop in 3 long steps. His hand clamped around the Vryn's pseudopod with crushing force. "Put him down, now." His voice was quiet, but there was something dangerous in it. Something that made Polvex's eye stalks widen in surprise. Around them, other humans in the market stopped what they were doing. A woman at the next shop put down her datapad. A man carrying boxes set them down carefully. They all looked toward Hajin's shop. "What is happening?" one human asked another. "Someone hurt a pet," came the answer. Those 4 words spread through the human section like fire. Within seconds, every human on Kepler Station knew. The merchants closed their shops. The tourists stopped sightseeing. The off-duty soldiers put down their drinks. Even the diplomats left their meetings. They all started walking toward the market sector. Not running, not shouting, just walking, silent, purposeful. Their faces showed no expression. 5 minutes later, 200 humans stood in the market sector. They formed a circle around Hajin's shop. They did not speak. They did not move. They just stood there watching Polvex. Station security arrived quickly. The security chief, an insectoid alien named Crixtal, pushed through the crowd. He stopped when he saw the scene. All the humans standing perfectly still. The Vryn trader holding a cat. Hajin's hand on the alien's pseudopod. "What is the meaning of this?" Crixtal demanded. "This human attacked me." Polvex sputtered. "Over an animal." "Put the cat down," Crixtal said tiredly. He had worked on Kepler Station for 10 years. He knew humans well enough to know this was bad. Polvex finally released Simba. Yuna rushed forward and grabbed her cat. She held him close, crying into his orange fur. Simba was shaking but unhurt. Bora came out from the back room and put her arms around her daughter. "This is insane," Polvex shouted. "It is just an animal. You are threatening a diplomatic incident over livestock." "That is where you are wrong," Hajin said. His voice was still quiet. "Still dangerous. You did not touch livestock. You hurt my daughter's cat. You made my little girl cry. Every human here understands what that means." A human officer pushed through the crowd. Her name was Commander Gyeong. She was in charge of all human security on the station. She looked at Polvex with cold eyes. "You are being escorted off this station immediately," she said. "You are banned from all human sectors, indefinitely. You cannot do this." Polvex protested. "I have trade agreements. I have contracts." "You violated our most basic protocol," Gyeong said. "You harmed a dependent creature under human protection. We do not negotiate about this. We do not forgive this. You're done here." Station security moved in. 4 large aliens surrounded Polvex. One of them was a Krillian warrior. He looked at the Vryn with disgust. "I would do what they say," the Krillian said. "I have fought beside humans. Trust me when I say you do not want to make them angry." As security escorted Polvex away, the crowd remained. Silent. Watching. Only when the Vryn was off the station did people start to move. The circle broke up slowly. Humans returned to their shops and homes. But everyone who had been there understood what had just happened. A line had been drawn. Cross it and face humanity united. That evening, Hajin closed the shop early. His family sat together in their living quarters. Simba was curled up on the couch between the 2 children. He seemed to have forgotten the scary event already. "Cats were like that. Why did all those people come, Papa?" Yuna asked. "How did they know so fast?" "Because we're human. Hajin said simply. When one of us is hurt, all of us respond. When someone threatens our family, we stand together. And Simba is family. But he is just a cat, his son Daesung said. He was 11 and trying to understand. No, Bora corrected gently. He is not just a cat. He is our cat. He depends on us. He trusts us. He loves us. We have a responsibility to protect him. All humans understand this. It is part of who we are. Across the station, in an alien bar, several species were discussing what had happened. 200 humans responded in minutes, a Torquin said.
How is that possible?
They have a communication network, a Draxian replied. But it is more than that. They have something we do not understand, a sense of unity about certain things. It was just an animal, a Vryn delegate muttered. That is what Polvex thought too, the Draxian said, and now he is banned from all human trade. His company will lose millions, all because he grabbed a small furry creature. There is a lesson here, the Torquin said thoughtfully. Humans will tolerate much. They are reasonable about most things. They negotiate and compromise, but there are lines you do not cross. Today we learned where one of those lines is. Back on Earth, the story of Kepler Station spread quickly. News channels played footage of 200 humans standing silent in the market. People shared the video online. Some aliens commented that humans were overreacting. But humans knew different. They knew that someone had hurt a defenseless creature. Someone had scared a little girl. Someone had crossed the line, and humanity had responded the only way they knew how. Together, united, ready to fight if necessary. Hajin sat on his couch that night with Simba purring on his lap. His daughter slept on one side, his son on the other. Bora sat beside him holding his hand. Do you think we did the right thing? She asked quietly. Yes, Hajin said without hesitation. We protected what matters. We showed them who we are. Let the galaxy think we are crazy. Let them think we are too emotional. I would rather be emotional than be someone who can ignore a creature in pain. Simba stretched and yawned. He had no idea that he had become the center of a galactic incident. He only knew that he was safe, warm, and loved, and really, from a cat's point of view, that was all that mattered. The emergency session of the Galactic Council started exactly 1 week after the Kepler Station incident. Every major species sent their representatives. The giant meeting room was full of aliens from across the galaxy. They all wanted to talk about the same thing. Humans and their animals. Thexvor, the Krillian delegate, stood at his platform. His mandibles clicked sharply as he spoke. This behavior is getting worse. Humans mobilized their entire population on a station over one small creature. This is a security concern. What happens next time? Will they mobilize their military? Other delegates made sounds of agreement. Worried buzzing. Concerned bubbling. Nervous chiming. Ambassador Dohyun walked to the center of the room. But he was not alone this time. 3 other humans walked with him. The first was Dr. Yunji, a scientist who studied alien psychology. The second was Admiral Taewon, the highest-ranking human military officer in Council space. The third was a woman named Somin. She led the largest animal protection organization in human space. They stood together at the podium. 4 humans facing hundreds of aliens. You are right to be concerned, Dohyun said. His voice was calm but firm. But not for the reasons you think. The room fell silent. Every alien leaned forward to listen. When you mock our relationships with our animals, you are not just insulting our pets. You are showing us that you do not understand humans at all. These creatures are not possessions. They are not decorations. They are family members who cannot speak for themselves. So we speak for them. We protect them. And yes, we will fight for them if necessary. Dr. Yunji stepped forward. She activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air above the podium. Pictures of wolves becoming dogs over thousands of years. Pictures of wild cats becoming house cats. Pictures of humans and animals working together. Let me explain something about human psychology, Yunji said. For hundreds of thousands of years, we survived by cooperating. Not just with other humans, but with other species. Wolves helped us hunt. They warned us about danger. In return, we shared our food and our fires. Over time, they became dogs. They became family. This ability to form bonds across species is not a weakness. It is one of our greatest strengths. It is sentimentality, Cormeth the Vryn bubbled. It clouds judgment. It makes you illogical, does it? Admiral Taywin spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard him. Our soldiers perform 40% better in combat when they have a military dog beside them. Our ships with pets report 50% higher morale. Our space stations with animals have 30% fewer mental health problems. Our colonies with pets have lower crime rates and happier citizens. We are not sentimental fools. We are a species that has learned to weaponize love. The chamber stirred uncomfortably. Weaponize love. The phrase made several aliens uneasy. Soman activated more holograms. The images showed search and rescue dogs pulling people from collapsed buildings, service dogs guiding blind humans through busy streets, therapy animals comforting children in hospitals, dogs sniffing out explosives before they could hurt anyone, cats keeping people company during long dark nights in space, horses helping injured soldiers learn to walk again. You see parasites, Salman said. We see partners who chose to work with us across thousands of years. You see weakness. We see the strength that comes from protecting something beyond yourself. You see wasted resources. We see the best investment we ever made. Do-hyun leaned forward on the podium. Here is what you need to understand. Humanity will go to extreme lengths to protect the innocent. Our entire moral system is built on defending those who cannot defend themselves. Our pets represent that principle perfectly. They depend on us completely. They trust us absolutely. They love us unconditionally. When you threaten them, you are not just attacking animals. You are attacking everything we believe in. So what are you saying? Thexfor demanded. That we must accept your pets or face human aggression? No, Do-hyun said. We are saying you need to understand that there are lines you cannot cross with humanity. Our children, our families, our companions. Cross those lines and you will discover that humans can be the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because we love war, but because we will go to war for those we love. Admiral Taywin nodded slowly. Every species has triggers, things that will make them fight to the death. The Krillians will fight to extinction if their queens are threatened. The Vryn will poison entire planets if their breeding pools are damaged. The Torquins will wage total war if their data centers are destroyed. For humans, threaten our families, including the ones with 4 legs and fur, and you will see exactly how fierce a sentimental species can be. Dr. Yoonji added more information. In our history, humans have fought wars over many things: resources, territory, ideas. But the fiercest wars, the ones where humans fought the hardest, were always about protecting the vulnerable. Protecting children, protecting the elderly, protecting those who could not protect themselves. This instinct is in our bones. It is in our DNA. It is who we are. Our pets trigger this protective instinct, Soman continued. They are innocent. They are vulnerable. They love us without conditions. When someone hurts them, every human responds the same way. With anger. With unity. With a willingness to fight. The chamber remained silent. Aliens looked at each other uncertainly. This was not what they expected. They thought humans would apologize. Would try to negotiate, would back down. Instead, humans were drawing a line in the sand and daring anyone to cross it. Velthar, the crystal moderator, chimed softly. Ambassador Do-hyun, are you threatening the council? No, Do-hyun said. We are explaining ourselves. You asked why humans responded the way we did at Kepler Station. We are telling you. 200 humans stood together because one cat was hurt. Imagine what would happen if something worse occurred. Imagine what would happen if someone killed a pet on purpose, or if someone attacked a child's dog, or if someone hurt a service animal helping a disabled human. You would go to war? Thexfor asked slowly. We would do whatever necessary, Admiral Taywin said. We do not want war. We prefer peace. But understand this clearly. There are things worth fighting for, things worth dying for. For humans, protecting the innocent is always worth fighting for. The silence stretched on. Finally, Velthar spoke again. The council needs to vote on your original request. The request for unrestricted companion animals in all human spaces. We are not really asking permission, Do-hyun said gently. We are explaining why we will do it regardless of your vote. But a yes vote would show that you understand us, that you respect our values even if you do not share them. The vote was taken. It passed, not unanimously. Some species voted no, but enough voted yes to approve the request. As the human delegation left the chamber, they walked past rows of alien representatives. Some aliens looked angry. Some looked thoughtful. Some looked afraid. Outside the chamber, Do-hyun stopped. The other three humans gathered around him. Do you think they understand now? Yoonji asked. Some of them do, Do-hyun replied. The smart ones. The ones who study other species and try to understand them. They get it now. We are not weak. We are not foolish. We are protective. And protection can be the most powerful force in the universe. What about the ones who do not understand? Salman asked. Admiral Taewon smiled grimly. They will learn. The hard way if necessary. Back in the chamber, delegates talked quietly among themselves. The Krillian warrior Thexivore spoke with a Draxian scientist. I did not expect that, Thexivore admitted. I thought humans were soft. They are soft, the Draxian replied. Soft toward what they love. But that softness has a hard edge. They will be gentle with a puppy, but threaten that puppy, and they become something else entirely. Dangerous, Thexivore said. Very dangerous, the Draxian agreed, because they do not fight for conquest or glory. They fight for love, and beings who fight for love never surrender. A Torquin scientist nearby recorded everything in his data files. Fascinating, he said. Humans have shown us that emotion is not always weakness. Sometimes emotion is the strongest weapon of all. That night across human space, people watched the news. They saw Ambassador Do-hyun and his team standing before the council. They heard the words. They saw the vote pass. In homes and ships and stations, humans hugged their pets a little tighter. They knew what this meant. The galaxy was starting to understand. Maybe they thought humans were crazy. Maybe they thought humans were too emotional. But now they knew. Humans would fight for their companions. Humans would stand together. Humans would not back down. The line had been drawn, and everyone knew where it was. 6 months passed since the council meeting. Something remarkable happened during that time. Not a single incident occurred between humans and aliens about pets. But something else happened that no one expected. Aliens started asking questions. The first request came from an unusual source. Zexrim, the Torquin scientist who had visited Arcturus IV, sent a formal message to the council. He wanted to do a long-term study on human-animal bonds, but not just watching from a distance. He wanted to actually live with one of these companion animals himself. The human delegation was surprised. Dr. Yoonji took charge of the program. She thought very carefully about which animal to choose. It needed to be patient. It needed to be gentle. It needed to be good with strangers. She chose a dog named Rocky. He was a golden-colored Labrador retriever, 7 years old. Rocky had worked as a therapy dog in human hospitals for 5 years. He was calm, friendly, and seemed to understand when people were sad or scared. Zexrim received Rocky at a human station. The scientist approached the relationship like any experiment. He made schedules for feeding. He calculated exact exercise requirements. He observed every behavior and recorded it in his data files. Rocky simply existed beside the alien scientist. Patient, calm, waiting. The first 3 weeks were just routine. Zexrim fed Rocky at exact times, walked him for exact distances, recorded exact observations. Nothing special happened. The scientist began to wonder if humans were imagining the bond they claimed to feel. Then came day 47. Zexrim was working late in his laboratory. He was studying radiation-resistant materials. A containment field malfunctioned. Radiation began leaking into the room. The scientist's warning systems failed due to a computer error. Zexrim did not notice the danger, but Rocky did. The dog started barking, loud, urgent, different from his normal bark. When Zexrim did not respond, Rocky grabbed the scientist's environmental suit sleeve with his teeth. He pulled hard. He dragged the confused alien away from the radiation leak. Zexrim finally understood. He checked his sensors. Radiation levels were dangerous. Without Rocky's warning, the scientist would have been seriously injured or killed. The laboratory's backup systems activated and contained the leak, but Rocky saved crucial minutes that saved Zexrim's life. The scientist looked at the dog. Rocky sat beside him, panting from the effort. His tail wagged. He seemed happy that his alien friend was safe. Zexrim sent a report to the council. The first version was only 3 words. I understand now. The full report came later. It was 50 pages long, but the important parts were simple. This creature depends on me for food, water, and shelter, Zexrim wrote. Logic suggests it should preserve itself first in danger. Instead, it risked itself to save me. It recognized a threat I could not see. It acted to protect me even though I am not its species. Humans call this love. I cannot find a better word. I now understand why they will fight for it. The report changed everything. Dozens of other aliens requested similar programs. Not all of them worked. Some species could not bond with Earth animals. Their biology was too different. Their psychology was too alien, but many did bond. A Krillian military officer named Vixthal adopted a German shepherd. The warrior found that the loyalty humans talked about was not so different from the loyalty Krillian soldiers showed their queens. The dog would follow Vixthal anywhere, would obey commands, would defend him against threats. The Krillian began to understand. A Vryn administrator fostered a cat named Miso. The Vryn learned that cats were different from dogs. They were independent. They showed affection on their own terms. But when Miso chose to curl up in the Vryn's habitat tank extension, purring softly, the alien felt something unexpected. Peace. Companionship. The cat chose to be there. That choice meant everything. Even some Torquins, who prided themselves on pure logic, found connections with rabbits and small animals. The quiet presence of another living thing seemed to calm their overactive processors. 1 year after the original proposal, Ambassador Do-Yun stood before the council again. But this time he was not alone. Several alien delegates now had companion animals in their pods or beside their stations. Zexrim's environmental suit now displayed a small image of Rocky on its surface. 1 year ago, Do-Yun said, "You mocked us. You called our love for our pets weakness. You could not understand why we would fight for creatures that could not fight for themselves. But now many of you are beginning to see what we have always known." He gestured toward Zexrim and the other aliens with pets. The strength to care for something weaker than yourself. The courage to love something that will die before you do. Dogs live only 15 years. Cats perhaps 20. We know we will lose them. We love them anyway. This is not weakness. This is the strongest choice anyone can make. Thexfor, the Krillian who had once mocked the proposal, clicked his mandibles. His own German shepherd, Rex, sat beside his station. Ambassador Do-Hyun, on behalf of the Krillian hegemony, I apologize for our earlier response. We did not understand. Now, some of us do. Similar statements came from other delegations. The Vryn, the Draxians. Even some Torquins admitted that their calculations about quality of life needed adjustment after experiencing companionship with animals. Not everyone agreed. Some species still thought it was foolish. Some found it impossible to bond with creatures so different from themselves. And that was fine. Humans did not need everyone to understand. The galaxy is learning something important, Do-Hyun continued. Humanity's greatest strength is not our technology. It is not our weapons. It is our capacity to love fiercely, to protect passionately, to care for the vulnerable with the same intensity we bring to war. Our pets taught us that. They taught us that real power means nothing if you do not use it to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Around the chamber, companion animals seemed to respond. Dogs wagged their tails. Cats purred. A rabbit twitched its nose. They had no idea they were in an important political meeting. They only knew they were with their friends. We are still the youngest members of this council, Do-Hyun said, but we have taught you something valuable. Any civilization that cannot find value in protecting and loving creatures that cannot speak for themselves is not a civilization we want to join. Fortunately, we are seeing that you can learn. Some of you already have. The session concluded with a unanimous vote. The council established the Interspecies Companionship Initiative. It was a program to study and facilitate bonds between species across the galaxy, inspired by humanity's relationships with their pets. As delegates left the chamber, Do-Hyun knelt beside Max, his golden retriever. The dog had been with him through all of this. Through the mockery, through the tension, through the eventual acceptance. They mocked you, boy, Do-Hyun whispered, scratching Max behind his ears. They thought loving you made us weak, but now they are starting to understand. You do not make us weak. You make us human, and that is the strongest thing we can be. Max licked his hand. His tail wagged happily. He understood nothing about politics or galactic councils. He only understood that his human was happy, and that made him happy too. 3 years later, the galaxy looked different. Nearly half of all council delegates now had some form of companion animal. Humans helped breed and train animals suited to different environmental needs. Special programs helped aliens learn how to care for their new companions. But more importantly, the Council had changed its values. They adopted what everyone called the humanity standard. It was a simple principle. How a civilization treats those who depend on them reveals their true character. Species were now evaluated not just on technology or military strength. They were evaluated on compassion, on treatment of vulnerable populations, on capacity for interspecies cooperation. Humanity had arrived at the galactic stage as one of the weakest species militarily. They were one of the youngest civilizations culturally. They were the most mocked for their emotional attachments. But by teaching the galaxy to value love, loyalty, and protection of the vulnerable, they became one of the most respected. All because they refused to abandon the creatures who had walked beside them for 30,000 years. All because when the galaxy mocked their pets, humanity drew a line and said, "This far. No further. They are family." And the galaxy learned that when humanity called something family, they meant it, with every fiber of their being. In homes and ships and stations across human space, people sat with their pets. Dogs and cats, rabbits and birds, horses and hamsters. Each one loved. Each one protected. Each one part of something bigger than themselves. The galaxy had thought humans were weak because they loved. Now they understood. Humans were not weak because they loved. They were terrifying because of it. Because a species that will fight for a creature that cannot speak, that will mobilize for a scared cat, that will stand together against any threat to their companions. That species will fight for anything they consider family, and humans considered many things family. The galaxy was just beginning to understand what that meant. And those who understood were grateful they had learned before crossing the line. Because lines drawn by love are lines you do not cross.